The focus of our webcast today is automate your student enrollment and admissions process with PowerApps. We're very excited to have Evan, our senior sales lead at CRM Dynamics, presenting for us today. Evan will give us an overview of how educational institutions like yourselves can address challenges such as student engagement and streamline student application processes with the help of PowerApps. I will now pass it over to Evan, and we hope you enjoy the session.
Hello, everyone. My name is Evan. Thank you for joining me today. As Chanella mentioned, I am a senior sales lead here at CRM Dynamics. I do have a specialty in the education or the EDU industry in both the higher education as well as private education fields, I guess you could say. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk you through a couple things. Before we get into that, I do want to call out a couple of housekeeping items here. Oops. So first things first, this webinar is being recorded. If anybody has a problem with that, please speak now or forever hold your peace. Everyone has been muted except for the presenters. So as I go through this, everyone has been muted and any questions will be answered at the end of the session. So feel free to fire your questions into the chat. And I believe there's a questions section as well. Fire your questions into there. I will hit them at the end. However, for the purpose of continuity, I would appreciate if we did hold off any questions until the end, but we will have lots of time to answer those questions. And I have no problem setting up a secondary session afterwards to answer some questions. Now, quickly, I just want to go through a bit of an agenda of what we're going to cover today. So the first thing that we're going to cover is a little bit about who we are, who you're dealing with, because obviously anytime that you run a project or you're looking at a product, the vendor is equally as important as the product you're looking for, especially in software, right? You need somebody to mold and shape that software to meet the needs of your business. And that's where we come in as a partner. And I will explain to you a little bit about who we are, our partner profile and accolades. And then I wanted to discuss a little bit about why Dynamics 365 for educational institutions. So this includes things like the Microsoft Dataverse. This also includes things like how PowerApps, Dynamics 365, and various other applications help educational institutions. And then I also want to go through a little bit of our methodology of how we like to implement or how we like to layer various pieces of the puzzle on top of each other to bring you to an end solution that meets 100% of the needs of your organization. So then last but not least, I want to go through a little bit of I'm not going to call it a demonstration, but it's going to be more of a conversation with some interactive screenshots that are going to allow me to walk you through a little bit about how PowerApps, Dynamics 365, and some other applications in the Microsoft suite all tie together in order to help facilitate a prospective student, from their inquiry with your educational institution throughout their whole entire student life cycle until they actually graduate. And it doesn't stop at graduation. We can also assist with those alumni relationships, generating those donations that help drive initiatives in your institution forward. So I'm going to go through all of this at a very high level. Now, if you see anything that you like throughout the course of the presentation, never fear. We can actually set up a demonstration session where we can actually tailor a demo to meet the needs of your organization. And I can show you what that would look like within your specific organization. But for now, we're going to keep it very high level and keep it conversational, if that's okay. Oops, I'm sorry. I jumped ahead too quickly there. Perfect. So I want to go through a little bit about who we are as a partner. So we're CRM Dynamics. We're a Microsoft Gold partner with more than 70 resources focused solely on Dynamics 365. And that number has grown through COVID, which is an anomaly to a lot of organizations as we went through a pandemic. It really speaks to the quality of work that we deliver. We've been doing this for 20 plus years, and we've run over 900 projects with over 350 active clients. And this is a bit of an old stat. I think this actually has increased now. However, it just goes to show you that we have a wide range of experience running different projects, not to mention the majority of our customers actually stay with us after the project's complete, just because of the work our service department does. There's 12,200 partners worldwide, and of those, 89 of these are selected into Microsoft's Inner Circle. I'll get to this in a second, but I just want to point out that we are an award-winning partner. And we also specialize in integrations with third-party systems as well. And I'll jump into that a little bit more. If you would like to know more information about integrations, I can get into that at a later date. So I want to talk about one of those awards, the Inner Circle. So we were put in the top 1% of partners globally. What this means is Microsoft leans on us for safe projects. Microsoft leans on us for advice on how to grow various platforms that we work on. And it really speaks to our, I guess you could say, our reach in the Dynamics 365 field. Another award that we won was called the Impact Award. And I always joke around saying Microsoft loves to award the partners that sell licenses for them and generate revenue. Who doesn't like to reward the people that make money for you, right? However, this is the one award that a customer actually nominated us for. So customer said, hey, Microsoft, CRM Dynamics implemented for us. It was an educational institution, a specific type of educational institution that we won this award with as well. However, they came in and said, hey, Microsoft, CRM Dynamics, based on our ROI, how we delivered the project and how we're using the current system, we think CRM Dynamics deserves the Impact Award because they had the largest impact on any project throughout the year from on Microsoft's behalf. We actually ended up winning that with one of our very close customers who actually ended up nominating us based on the work we did. Awesome. Just a little bit about our geographical footprint. We're not just based in Canada, we're North America wide. We've also done some work in Europe, Australia, and some various other countries as well. And last but not least, what I like to call our NASCAR slide. So there's obviously one area that I want to point your eyes to, and that's education. Humber, McMaster, York University, New York Department of Education. These are all very, very, very large educational institutions that leaned on us to implement Dynamics 365 to do things like manage their admissions cycle, manage their student life cycle, help with their marketing efforts, implement a PowerApp for meeting bookings. All of throughout the experience that you're seeing in the education area, we've covered a wide range of different departments as well as different processes throughout these educational institutions as well. If you'd like more information on any of these projects, I'd be happy to jump on a call and speak to them at a later date. Awesome. So now I want to jump into why Dynamics 365 for educational institutions, because obviously there's a lot of options for applications out there. Dynamics is becoming widely regarded as one of the stronger applications in the education field, and there is a reason for that. Now I'm going to sorry about that. So the primary reason why anyone would pick Dynamics 365 is the concept of the common data model. So this means that PowerApps, Dynamics 365 for sales, which we commonly see being used for admissions, customer service, which we commonly see being used for student guidance or guidance counselors, a case created for when somebody has a question or an inquiry for a guidance counselor. Marketing is another one we commonly see used, obviously for communications with both prospective students, current students, and alumni. Not to mention parents as well. Power BI and the PowerApps platform. Office 365, so your Outlook, Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all of those sit on one database on the back end, which is an IT manager's dream, right? No integrations required. Integrations are bulky, integrations are expensive. Instead of doing that, we have one large application that's already interconnected with a free-flowing data, between the applications where we pretty much expose functionality, as opposed to having to build a bridge between them to pass that data. We just have one big open database which these applications can access, but you can still control who sees what based off of the security parameters built in the system. Not to mention, one of the most handy features, things like your security features flow across all applications in the Microsoft suite, because we look at it as one large application as opposed to an accumulation of smaller ones. Awesome. So last but not least, how do we help educational institutions implement accordingly, implement properly, and leverage all the different IP as well as tools out there to deliver the most effective solution and efficient solution possible? Well, there's a couple different layers to this. So we start off with the Microsoft Foundation. This may be PowerApps, this may be Dynamics 365, it may be a combination of a bunch of different applications, but this is out of the box. And that's where we start, because out of the box there's a lot of handy features in it in 2021. It's not just a blank slate anymore. From there, we build on top of that with education accelerators. So I know it's not PowerApps, however, Dynamics 365 and PowerApps work in conjunction with each other. I'll use the Dynamics 365 example. Microsoft has a higher education accelerator. This is pre-built configurations that you can layer on top of your out-of-the-box system, which is this down here, in order to accelerate and reduce the cost of the implementation process. So this is Microsoft's actual accelerator. It doesn't cost anything additional. It's something they've built out for the education institution to help you get a jump start on your implementation project. From there, we find that some of these solutions actually lack when it comes to admissions, but do a very, very good job of communicating with your SIS system or SISS system. That being said, we have actually developed some functionality, some of our own internal IP that can help with things like admissions. So we will layer on top of that our CRM Dynamics, for example, education blueprint to bring you even closer to where you're looking to go. So we have the SSIS component of things, the student management, the student life cycle, but then we have the admissions piece. Stick those two together, and it's a very, very powerful solution that's, once again, going to help you reduce the cost and the timeline of the implementation, because we're leveraging that pre-existing IP from both Microsoft and CRM Dynamics, which is us. And then last but not least, we layer on my absolute favorite part as somebody who used to be a consultant and has actually implemented this themselves. I'm going to highlight the idea of the CRM Dynamics consulting team. So once we have all of this IP and the out of the box down, this may bring you to 80 to 90% of the way along the road of where you want to be. Now, why I say 80, 90%, every organization has their unique needs. You're not the same. Humber is not the same as McMaster, which is not the same as York U, which is not going to be the same as your institution. You're going to have those niche things that make your institution very unique compared to the other ones. Well, guess what? That's that 20% that we're going to leverage with the CRM Dynamics Consulting, Configuration, and Development team to bring you from that 80 to 90% to 100% of what you're looking for essentially in a system, as long as it makes logical sense. I always put the asterisks there. But if it makes logical sense, we can bring you as far as we can down that road to get you a system that you are 100% satisfied with. The combination of these four things is what sets us apart. Leveraging these four things helps you reduce that implementation cost and that implementation timeline across PowerApps, Dynamics. It doesn't really matter. This methodology is proven successful across the Microsoft suite. Awesome. So now that I've gone through all of that, I'm going to go through a little bit on the student life cycle as well. So I've broken down who we are as a company, why we do well in the education space, what is our implementation methodology, and why Microsoft is, in my opinion, superior to a lot of the other applications out there, and that is the common data service that I mentioned. Now I'm going to apply this to education, and I'm going to show you some screenshots as to how this may look in your actual day-to-day. So a couple things that I want to walk through here. I'm going to give you a little bit of a case study. So we're dealing with Hannah, as you can see here. Hannah's all smiling and excited to go off to school, and she is a student. So she at first is interested in attending Bellows University. Bellows University is Microsoft's made-up university. So bear with me here and use your imagination a bit. She's interested in attending. She's probably going to reach out and ask for some information. So she visits the Bellows University website and registers for an open day. I'm also going to go through her receiving an email confirming her attendance at the open house, what it looks like when she actually attends the open house. When Hannah becomes a student at Bellows University, what does that look like? And I'm going to go through at a very high level what a student profile may look like. Then receives financial guidance. So some of those tier 2 things that we can help out with as well. So for example, if somebody needs financial help, we can go through the financial help application process through the system, through customer service as opposed to sales, which we're doing the admissions through. And then last but not least, struggles as a student and receive support. So this goes back to the guidance counselor side of the house that I was talking about before, how we can use customer service to really manage those guidance counseling cases and really bring those to resolution in a organized, structured manner that is repeatable across a variety of students and referenceable so that you can learn from your past cases moving forward. Awesome. So first things first, we talked about, and in this step here, and I'm going to go back to this slide quite a bit just to hammer home my points, but we talked about how Hannah was interested and she visited the website. So as you can see, this is what the website might look like. This is a PowerApps portal. So a PowerApps portal is a public-facing website where you can essentially expose data or collect data from customers or prospective students or current students without having to call them and ask them. So they'll log in with a username and password into their website portal, and they'll be able to do things like upload admissions information. They may be able to do things like register for classes. They may be able to access community pages, supports, book appointments with guidance counselors, and even access the regular website. So one thing to point out, there's a username and login password. This can sit right on your main website. And when a student logs in, they have access to information that they need to have access to. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to play this video a little bit and show you a little bit about the click through. So one of the other things that we're able to have the ability to do is offer chat sessions. So if she wanted to find out more information, we could have a live chat where you could have either a bot or an agent on the other end helping Hannah throughout her information gathering process. Obviously, adding this personal touch is very, very handy for any admissions department because it really shows that you're there to care for Hannah. So as you can see, Hannah's going through, she's entering her information. Does that answer your question? Yes, please rate your experience so we can gather feedback on how we're doing with these students, and always be consistently improving our admissions process, right? Because at the end of the day, you're in a very, very competitive industry. Being able to collect feedback like that and make improvements, as well as being able to self-service people like this at the drop of the hat, makes a big difference when it comes to competing with other schools, because it shows that you truly care. So I'll give you an example. I went to Bishop's University. It's in Quebec, Canada. One of the things that they did when I got there is they had a specific person that was assigned to me to show me around the school and all these other things. And that person was very, very good at what she did. That really attracted me to the school, right? That personal touch, that live chat, that having a person there to really answer my questions as they come up was a real draw to going to Bishop's University for me. Being able to have things like live chat will really connect with your prospective students and give them that real-time person that they're looking for. Awesome. So I'm going to jump into my next slide here. So as you can see, there's Hannah, there's the website. We've gone through the live chat side of things. Oh, I'm sorry, that is the same video. I don't know why it did that. Here we go. So once Hannah has done her registration, the school is going to send her an email. So thank you for registering for our open day. We're excited to meet you. Please follow this link to find out more about what's happening at the event. So this was an email that was automatically triggered by the marketing module. So we can have customer journeys with a set of steps and behaviors. So for example, in this case, I'll walk you through the logic. Hannah signs up for an open house. So if signs up and if yes, then we are going to trigger this email asking them to sign up for an open house. We could also have another I guess you could say trigger that says no, if she did not sign up for the open house but showed interest, send an email following up with a link for them to register for the open house. So based on their behavior, we can tailor the messaging to really meet their needs and try and drive them into that next step of the buying cycle, whether that is an open house, whether that is a meeting with an admissions person, whether that is a school tour, whatever it may be, you want to use the automated customer journeys to try and drive the customer to that next buying move, that next buying action, or you want them to more information, follow up with them, show them that you love and care for them, and that you really want them to go to your educational institution through customized, tailored emails that happen based off of triggers, behavioral triggers. Awesome. So let's say, for example, Hannah is ready to attend the school and she downloads the school's mobile app. So what Hannah can do is she can actually this is an internal employee. This may be the person who is actually giving the tours. So as this person's I'm going to go back now. As this person's walking around the school, as you can see, they have this really handy Power App. And I'm trying to make the video start again here for you. There we go. So they have this really handy Power App where they can go through, they can see their appointments, they can select their appointments, they can open them up, see more information about the appointments themselves. So as you can see, the person looks up the open day, brings up the events with the open day, selects that, sees a list of people that they're dealing with, pulls up Hannah because this person wants to get more information about Hannah, or Hannah may have a Power App where she pulls up information about the actual event to check in, whatever it may be. Power Apps can play on both sides of the house. They can be for the internal person, they can be for the actual student themselves. Really depends on what your use case is. But what the Power App essentially allows a person to do is enter information, check in for an event, do all of this stuff on the fly without actually having to be in front of your Dynamics interface. It makes it very, very easy for people to enter information, access information from Dynamics, from the Power Apps database, from the Common Data Service, and display that publicly to them on a mobile device. One other handy feature that comes or that's available through the Power App applications or the Power Platform, or through Microsoft Marketing, which we see a lot of educational institutions leveraging on top of Dynamics 365, is the ability for SMS messaging. So as you can see in this case, hello Hannah, Bellows is happy to welcome you to our fall open day. Please make your way to the central courtyard for complimentary lunch before a meet and greet with the university's lecturers. So essentially what this means, what we're doing here is when we know that Hannah has arrived the day of, we're actually able to go another step with that communication and really make Hannah feel like she's at home by text messaging her automatically, letting her know where she needs to be there. Because let's be honest here, a university campus for somebody who's never been there before is probably one of the most intimidating things in the world. So being able to reach out and actually direct them via SMS on a very, very familiar device, it's almost like a personal device where you're reaching out to them and saying, hey, this is where you need to be and here's the time you need to be there, is a very, very powerful feature. So as you can see, once we're done as well, we've directed Hannah where she needs to be. Now the event's ended, she's listened to the lecturers. Bellows University hopes you enjoyed today's Fall Open Day. We'd appreciate your honest feedback about your experience. Please take a quick survey to help us improve events in the future. So we know the event's over. We've automatically triggered this text message because Hannah registered. She checked into the event. We knew that she was actually there, and now we know that she's actually left. Now we want to collect that feedback so we can always be improving as well, so that we can increase the rate of students that actually attend our school. Well, guess what? We can actually attach a survey through here through a customer voice, which is another application, a survey application built on the Power Platform. Customer Voice allows you to send out interactive surveys that make it very easy for customers to fill those out. They're easy to build, easy to send, easy for the customer to fill out, and also has AI analytics on the back end that can break down those survey responses and give you actionable insights on how to improve. Not to mention, this is just a really, really nice feature to see as you leave an event. They're texting you saying, hey, thank you for coming. Really, really appreciate that. Here's a little survey for you. It's a nice little personal touch to make them feel like, once again, they're loved, right? Awesome. So I was speaking about Dynamics 365 for marketing. I want to show you a little example of that because a lot of this is run on the Power Platform as well. So as you can see, here's those customer journeys that I was talking about earlier with the steps. So I just want to quickly rewind that a little bit so I can show you what I'm referring to. So we have registered prospects. So this is prospects who registered for the open day. So Hannah would be one of these people that's automatically added to this segment when she registers. We can send a newsletter. Then from there, if the person is registered, you can see that we have a no and a yes step. This is what I was talking about before. This is the yes/no triggers that determine which emails get sent out. So as you can see, if the person says no, we have an email open trigger. We want to remind them with an email, or we can have another step here that's going to be added. If the person did register, then we're going to stop. We're just going to wait for the event and not bother them anymore. Here's the event that comes up. And as we go, we're going to have another trigger for if they attended or if they did not attend. So if they attended, we're going to send a feedback email asking them for that survey, that collective criticism that helps us improve. We want to collect that. Or if they did not attend, we may have a different email here. It's not in here, but I'll speak to it. We may have a different email here that says, sorry, you missed our open day. Here's a link to register for the next open day. Is there a reason why you didn't attend or something like that? You can collect that feedback as well. So I hope that gives you a good idea as to how we can send out these emails via triggers and things like that. I'm just going to let this play through so it can show you the rest of the customer journey. We have events, we have event registrations as well. This helps drive this overall thing, and here's the event. So this event here is actually an event held in the event record, the event entity right here as well. So I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to show you what one of those events may actually look like. So as you can see, I'm going to open up the event for the Fall Open Day. We have information on the event, the times, everything like that, the buildings, the rooms, as well as the attendees. So who actually registered for this event. So you can see these people here from here to here actually registered for this event. They are attendees that we are going to send that email to with the hey, or the SMS message to saying, hey, you need to be at this place at this time. This is how we're gathering all that. As they register, they're automatically added as registrants to the event. Awesome. Last but not least, one of the things that I want to show you is the student profile. So this holds all the information on the student that you want to see, all that really, really good stuff. So we have contact information, we have academic periods, we have risk scores, so how likely are they to churn, their gender, and other information about them. But we also have a set of process or business process flow for inquiry, application, offer to admitted. So this is obviously someone who's a prospective student, is not yet full student. Here's what the information about what they're interested in. So they're interested in coming in as a Bachelor of Arts. They've gone through the inquiry stage. We know that they're an actual prospective student. We want to work with them. They've moved on to the application stage. They've completed that application. And we've actually provided them now with an offer letter that they need to either accept or decline. If they decline, this would be closed and deactivated because they've declined the offer. They're no longer a prospective student. You know, we're done with them. They've accepted somewhere else. We don't want to deal with them anymore. Or they can be admitted, at which time this will automatically pass across and change them into a current student with the full student profile and everything surrounding it they may need to fill out. As they're going through this application process, they may be uploading and storing documents that they're filling out. They may be filling out online digital forms, at which time we're pulling that information into the system automatically, so there's no manual double entry, and really taking the manual work off the plate of your admissions officers as they go through this, from document storage to sending out the admissions packages, everything. We're going to automate that through workflows and business process in Dynamics 365 and PowerApps. Awesome. So just jumping back to the, sorry about that. Just jumping back to the portal for a little bit. You can see that someone can do things through a portal like finance, apply for financing. They can pay bills. You can provide information like what do you need to know when you're moving to university? Pretty much anything on the portal that you're looking to have a person do by themselves or access information on, and you don't want them to see your internal system, the portal can be used for that. Some of the other things that I wanted to show you was customer service. So customer service being customer guidance counselors, financial assistants. We create what's called cases in order to track all of these. And we can have different types of cases, right? Like one for financial assistance versus one for customer guidance. They're two different things with two different information sets. We can accommodate all of that. On a dashboard, you can see things like how many high priority cases do we have? How many cases in general do we have? Normal priority, how many have been completed versus how many are open? What different types of cases do we have and what sources do they come in by? How many cases per student? There's a lot of different ways that we can slice and dice this data. So we can see that, Angel here has not only applied for financial assistance, but her second case that she has open may be guidance counselor information or a guidance counselor meeting, just to give you some context. So as you go, you can see all the active cases you have. The person can go through these as if they were a list and kind of knock off what they need to do. And then once they're resolved, they have a process flow, just like the admissions process. So we identify, we research, then we actually resolve the case. So in this case, you can see they're going through this, and then we can even assign those cases to others if we need to. So in this case, I want to point out some of the information that we're dealing with. Sorry about that, I'm going to go back. This case resolves around a budgeting problem. The subject's obviously financial assistance because that's what they're looking for. It's for Hannah, the person we were dealing with before, and this came in through the web. So now a person will take this, they'll identify that the issue is a budgeting issue. They'll research and find out how we can get this person financial assistance. And once the application for financial assistance is resolved and this person has applied, then we will resolve this as completed. We may even want to, as we mentioned before, route this to a financial assistance officer to actually help with this, at which time they will have their own process that they will go through to improve that. Just to give you an idea of, how many different processes that we can cover within the Dynamics 365 ecosystem and PowerApps. It's not just admissions that we're worried about. All right. Oh, I'm sorry, I went backwards. Last but not least, to tie everything up in a nice little bow, I wanted to discuss customer service insights. So Dynamics 365 and the Microsoft Suite gives us the ability to pull data from all these different sources into one centralized database. So what does that mean? We can see everything that's going on about this customer. They paid their rent. They had a face-to-face appointment with a guidance counselor. They created that financial support ticket that we were talking about before. They wanted a performance award because maybe they were one of the top in their class, so we can mark that down too. But we can track things like low library attendance, their rent is overdue, they have low engagement with programs within the school, what are their interests, how likely are they to churn or go to a different university. We can also change this data to show things like how at risk is the student of leaving us and various other things. This is a very, very powerful tool that brings everything together in a nice, neat little bow and really gives you a 360-degree view of your student profile. While helping maintain satisfaction of students as well, because at the end of the day, word of mouth is a big way that you do generate students as well. So you want to make sure that students are happy, they have a low churn score, a low risk of turning over.